Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Pokemon fans of the world, it is MegaCrasher, and I come at you guys back again once again with a pro level of hype, and I want to present you guys with a brand new video. And what we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be our newest Pokemon competitive review slash guide, and we are going to be going over Ninetales as well as its Alolan counterpart known as Alolan Ninetales. Now, these two Pokemon right here, although very similar in design and in stats, they are vastly different. So we are going to be treating these two Pokemon as if they were different Pokemon. But with that being said, let's go ahead and let's go over regular Ninetales first. So as we're seeing right here, it is going to have the regular fire typing. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that this typing by itself is pretty good defensively because you have 6 resistances, that being to Bug, Fairy, Fire, Grass, Ice, and Steel, all of which can be pretty threatening if you're not careful. So it's good that Ninetales has all those resistances. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that it has 3 very common weaknesses, that being to ground, that being to rock, and last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, that being to water as well. And on top of it having a rock type weakness, it's also going to be weak to stealth rocks too, so please bear that in mind. And with that being said, we go over the 2 abilities that it has, the first of which is known as Drought, which is the ability that you're more commonly going to be seeing whenever you see Ninetales in competitive play. Basically what Drought does is it summons sunny day-like weather for 5 turns and 8 turns if you were to hold a Heat Rock. Now, we also have ourselves Flash Fire, which by itself is actually a really good ability, but it pales in comparison to Drought. But basically what Flash Fire does is it grants you a fire type immunity, and on top of that, it boosts the power of your fire type moves by 50%, which could be kind of good if you think about it. But the thing is, more often than not, you're definitely going to want to go for something like Drought, especially given the fact that this right here, this ability actually gives a lot of support to your team depending on what your teammates are. I mean, if they happen to have the ability Chlorophyll, then definitely you're going to want to have Drought on there, because what Chlorophyll does is it will double the speed of the user as long as there's sunlight in effect. And since Drought summons that, well, there you go, bada bing, bada boom, right? So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's go over the stats real quick. So we have ourselves 73 on the HP, 76 on the attack, 75 on the defense, 81 on the special attack, and 100 in the special defense and in the speed. So clearly this Pokemon's best asset happens to be under its speed and also special defense as well. And offensively, you know, base 81 special attack is not really too bad, but I mean, you know, it definitely could be higher. But see, here's the thing though, is that don't let that base 81 special attack fool you, okay? It's got ways of setting up. So with that being said, let's now go over Alolan Ninetales real quick. So now, ladies and gentlemen, on to Alolan Ninetales, and I'm just gonna say right off the bat, right here, right now, Alolan Ninetales looks far more elegant, far more beautiful than its Kantonian counterpart. I'm sorry, regular Ninetales, I'm sorry, but just Alolan Ninetales like that, I really love what they did with the design right here with the changeover. They really made Alolan Ninetales very well. One of my favorite designs ever in the history of Pokemon. So, designs aside, what does this Pokemon exactly have to bring to the table, you might ask? So, the thing is, first things first, we have ourselves an Ice Fairy typing, which is very unique. I believe it's actually the only Pokemon that has access to this typing, which that in and of itself makes it even more unique. Now, right off the bat, you have an immunity to Dragon-type moves, which is really good on an offensive level. You also have resistance to the likes of Bug, Dark, and Ice. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, there's some bad news up in this, because here's the thing, is that like the Kanto part of Ninetales, you also suffer through Stealth Rock weakness because you're weak to Rock type moves. You also have a weakness to Poison and Fire type, which is kind of ironic because its counterpart happens to be that of Fire, right? Now, the thing is also, you have a 4 times weakness to Steel type moves, which means you face off against a Bullet Punch user, you're gonna be screwed, so you have to watch out for that. But there's also ways around it as well, which I'll get into a little bit later on here in this video. So with that being said, we take a look at the 2 abilities it has, the first of which is known as Snow Cloak. Now Snow Cloak is a pretty interesting ability by itself because what this does is it boosts the evasion of the user by, I believe, 25% when you're under the effects of a hailstorm. Now, Snow Warning, speaking of hailstorms, Snow Warning, what this does is it summons hail for 5 turns, 8 if you use an Icy Rock, if you have Icy Rock as a held item, and what this does is it will allow for you to give your team a lot of support in more ways than one, because not only are there Pokemon that can take advantage of hail because of their abilities and moves, but also, you know, there's a nice little niche that that Alolan Ninetales has that allows for it to be a usable Pokemon in the overused tier. So now we move on to the stats. Has a very similar stat layout to its Cantonian part. What we have going on here is we also have ourselves 73 on the HP. We got 67 on the attack, so it dropped down a little bit, but we have ourselves 75 on the defense, 81 on the special attack, and 100 on the special defense. And that base 109 speed, that's going to be the difference right there, man. And the thing of it is that base 109 speed is an amazing and very interesting speed tier, because this allows for you, ladies and gentlemen, to outspeed up to base 108 base speed Pokemon, which also includes the likes of Terrakion, Virizion, you know, Keldeo, things like that. So, I mean, you have a lot of outspeeds that you can definitely take advantage of in battle if Ninetales was to go one-on-one, you know? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so now it is time to present you guys with some set ideas for Ninetales. Now, you guys are probably noticing, you know, Pokemon that clearly aren't Ninetales. Well, I'm gonna go over these guys here in a little bit later on after I finish talking about some sets that you can use for Ninetales. So, first things first, ladies and gentlemen, with a set like this, you're basically in it to win it, okay? You're gonna be coming in, you're gonna set up, and this right here hopefully is gonna be your win condition. So, the item of choice is going to be the Firium Z Crystal. Now, there are a couple of other options. You go for something like Life Orb if you want, so that way, you know, you don't have a Z Crystal that is a one-time use, and instead you end up having an item that benefits all your moves. But in a situation like this, you know, Firium Z is most definitely going to be my item of choice. And the reason being, ladies and gentlemen, well, part of the reason is going to be Drought. Now, here's the thing with Drought, is that with this ability right here, it's going to summon Sunny Day. Now, I also want to point out that if you were to utilize a Heat Rock on Ninetales as your item of choice, then Drought would be extended from 5 turns to 8, which can absolutely be beneficial and more supportive for your team. But, you know, here's the thing, is that even with 5 turns, you're still providing a decent amount of support for your team and for yourself as well. Because Drought, I should also point out, boosts the power of Fire-type moves by 50% and decreases the power of Water-type moves by 50%. So, I mean, that's just a little something, you know, to kind of throw in there as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the first move that we got going on is known as Nasty Plot. Now, Nasty Plot, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to boost the user's special attack by 2 stages, which is absolutely amazing, and definitely kind of makes you think twice about underestimating that base 81 special attack there, don't it? So, the next move that we got, it is going to be the centerpiece here of the set, Fire Blast. Now, the reason for Fire Blast? Firium Z. And what do you do? What do you get when you get Firium Z combined with Fire Blast? Inferno Overdrive, which is going to hit for a ridiculously high amount of base power. Now, here's the thing, guys, is that combine the fact that it also gets boosted by Drought, which, you know, boosts Fire-type moves, and Inferno Overdrive, you know, it's a Fire-type move and all that stuff, and potentially boosted by Nasty Plot as well. I mean, ooh, damn! Like, it's just gonna be absolutely crazy powerful. Now, see, here's the thing, guys, is that, you know, even after all of that, if Fire Blast doesn't do it for you, we have Solar Beam. Now, Solar Beam is a really good move to utilize on Ninetales, and here's why, okay? Like, not only does it take 3 of its weaknesses and absolutely pummels them down for super effective damage. Yeah, I'm talking at you, they're ground, rock, and water types. Just come on, man. I dare you to come on, man. Like, you're not going to be able to do anything with Solar Beam right in your grill, you know? But the thing is also is that Solar Beam is a grass type move, and grass and fire offer amazing coverage together. Now, the thing is also is that even with these two moves right here, you know, you still gotta worry about the likes of Heatran and all that stuff. Well, see, here's the thing. You want Heatran to come in? That's absolutely no problem. I got a little something for you called Hidden Power Ground, son. Hidden Power Ground, it is also a really good move to have because it's got really good type coverage and good type synergy offensively with grass and fire, okay? Now, even though it hits for 60 base power, the thing is, after 1 or 2 Nasty Plot boosts, you're going to be golden, okay? Now, here's the thing. Perhaps you're not worried about Heatran. Perhaps you have something that, you know, like, can cover Heatran, so you don't have to, you know, use Hidden Power Ground, and instead you want to use something a little bit more beneficial or something like that. Say if you're worried about dragons, you know, say if you're worried about Landorus or something like that. Well, see, here's the thing, guys. We have ourselves Hidden Power Ice that you can utilize, and Hidden Power Ice, that's going to give you really good Ice type coverage, and that also, ladies and gentlemen, I should also point out, gives you really good offensive type synergy with Grass and Fire as well. Now, there are also other options, okay? You want a Dark type move, you got Dark Pulse. You want to have Extra Sensory, you know, for a Psychic, you know, there you go, you got your Extra Sensory right there. Perhaps you want to add a little bit more support here to a set like this, okay? Let's just go ahead and take out Fire MZ and put in Heat Rock or something like that. You can put in Heat Rock so that way it will extend the duration of Sunny Day from 5 turns to 8, and also give your teammates a little bit more time to utilize their Chlorophyll ability, which, you know, if I haven't already said this, Chlorophyll is an ability that is absolutely amazing, especially under the effects of sunlight, because it doubles their speed as long as sun is on the field, okay? So, you know, say if you want to use this set more of like, kind of like a non-setup, but more of a supportive set with some good offensive power, then you could perhaps go for something like Disable. Now, what Disable does is for 4 turns, it's going to disable the move that your opponent used the last turn. So, I mean, this could absolutely be amazing, and be savage against them as well, because that's going to end up screwing them over. They're going to have to change their moves, and, you know, maybe the move that you end up disabling was their game changer right there. Well, now it's a game changer for you, because you no longer have to worry about that move, and you can just start, you know, having your way with your opponents and all that stuff. But maybe Mind Games isn't something for you. Maybe you want to go back to Nasty Plot. That's okay, you know. Nasty Plot is a great setup move, and the thing is also there are other moves that you can utilize here as well. You can utilize perhaps something like Foul Play. Foul Play, oh man, you want to talk about turning the opponent's attack stat against them, okay? Especially if they happen to be a physical attacker. Well, you know, that's kind of what it is. Like, the Foul Play move is going to use the target's attack stat against them, and the higher the attack stat, the more damage it's going to do. So, I mean, there you go, man. Like, there's that as well. I mean, there are so many options that you can utilize for the likes of Ninetales from an offensive standpoint, from a supportive standpoint. Let's see what else you got going on here. So you got something like Pain Split. Pain Split can be good because Pain Split is going to share the HP of the user and the opponent. So especially if the opponent has a fat HP user, then, you know, that their HP is going to go down by quite a bit, and your HP is going to go up by quite a bit, you know? You also got the likes of Psyshock too, which is going to give you a move to target the defense of the opponents, such as Chansey and Blissey and all that stuff, right? Let's see what else you got going on here, right? You can go for something like Roar, you know, to force out the opponents and, you know, make them have to switch in a random Pokemon. And not to mention also, if entry hazards happen to be on the field, well, guess what? They're going to end up taking entry hazard damage as well, which is absolutely hilarious, right? Perhaps you want to have a little bit of statuses, so you can go for something like Toxic, you know, to badly poison the opponents and put a timer on them, or maybe go for Will-O-Wisp to screw over their attack stat, because Will-O-Wisp is not only going to burn the target, but also cripple their attack stat, which is just, oh man, that's just absolutely amazing. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's move on to the spread here, okay? So we're going to be going with a Timid Nature, and we're going to be running max special attack and max speed. Now, with a set like this, ladies and gentlemen, with a spread like this, you're definitely going to want to go for the set that I had originally suggested with the spread, that being the Fire MZ, the Nasty Plot combination, all that fun stuff. And you know what, you can go, you know, in between Hidden Power Ice and Hidden Power Ground. It's really up to you. But, you know, my preference would be something like Hidden Power Ground, because, you know, I'm scared of Heatran. That thing is a monster. Ah! Anyways, guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's move on to another way that you can use Ninetales, and that is with a set like this, okay? Now, this is a little bit outside the box, a little bit less common and all that. I get it, but check me out on this, okay? We got a bit of a different approach here going on when it comes to a set like this. We're meaning to be bulky, we're meaning to set up, and we're meaning to spread hazards and cause all sorts of shenanigans. So the item for choice is going to be leftovers, so that way you have a little bit of HP recovery at the end of each turn. We obviously are going to go for a drought, because drought not only is a good supportive ability, but it's also good defensively as well, because it is going to cut down the power of water type moves, which happens to be a type that you're weak against, right? So, you know, you essentially only have 2 weaknesses that you got to deal with in that situation. So the first move that we got is going to be Calm Mind, which is going to boost your special attack and your special defense by 1 stage. We got Pain Split, like I had highlighted in this set right here. Pain Split is going to be a really good move to have here on a defensive and, you know, supportive set like this, because what this does is it's going to share the HP of the user and the target equally. So that means that you could use this as a healing move, you can use this as a move to kind of chip away at the opponent's health. It's really up to you. We need to have ourselves a status move, ladies and gentlemen, so you could go for Will-O-Wisp, you can go for Toxic. I would recommend Will-O-Wisp here, because it'll be a great way to patch up your defense, which, you know, isn't even really that good. I'm not gonna lie, you know, base 75, it's, you know, it's okay defensively, but it's not the best. But you want to get, you know, the most bang for your buck defensively, go for something like Will-O-Wisp. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, well, here's the thing, okay? I have Hex in there kind of like as a little bit of a gimmick, a little bit of lulz and all that stuff. But the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, is because it hits for base 65 power, but it doubles in power if it happens to be statused, okay? Like, say, for example, you status a Pokemon, you know, they switch in, they're thinking, oh, you know, crap, it's like, I'm status, like, what do I do now? And, you know, they decide to foolishly stay in. Well, guess what? Hex is going to double in power if the target happens to have a status ailment, so with that, you know, Hex is going to hit for 130 base power, and combine that with potential Calm Mind boost, it's going to hit for really good damage. Now, if you don't want gimmicks and instead you want to have Stab, then go for something like Flamethrower. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, you will be walled to hell by any Flash Fire users or any users that happen to be immune to Fire-type moves, okay? But Flamethrower, nonetheless, is a really good, reliable stab, and hey, it also has a 10% chance to burn as well. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we take a look at the spread right here. We're going to be going max HP and max speed because we want to be, you know, a fast, bulky sort of Pokemon right now. If you are not worrying about speed as much, say if you want, you know, a little more investment in the defense, then you can go for something like this, you know, go for something like that and have like a Bold Nature or something like that. And let's just go ahead and find Bold Nature. There you go, baby. Look at that. Look at that. Those are some pretty respectable numbers right there for the defense and the HP right there. Now, the thing is also is that Calm Mind can also be used defensively as well because, you know, not only does it boost your special attack, which is on the offensive level, but it can also boost your special defense, which is on a defensive level. So think of it this way, okay? You get a couple of Calm Mind boosts, and you're going to be really hard to take down on the special side against opponents that haven't yet tried to set up on you. Now, here's the thing is that this set obviously is not foolproof, okay? If you are taunted, then your set is done. Bye-bye. Switch out or GG kind of thing, right? Now, with this right here, I also want to showcase you guys some really good teammates that you can run with Drought Ninetales. First things first, we've got Venusaur, okay? Venusaur with Chlorophyll. That's going to be absolutely amazing. And check this out. We got Growth, which is going to raise the user's attack and special attack by 2 stages if the sun is up. And from there, you go for something like Solar Beam, which is going to be great under the effects of sunlight. You could go for something like, if you want to have like mixed offenses, go for Earthquake, because you want to take advantage of the +2 attack boost as well. So you can have Earthquake, you could have Sludge Bomb, get all sorts of crazy fun stuff up in there. You know, it's really up to you. Another Pokemon is Executor that is going to absolutely love you for days if Drought is going to unleash the power of the sun, right? Because this Pokemon right here, you know, it can also spam Solar Beam, you know, all that good stuff. You know, got Solar Beam. You can also go for something like, does this thing actually get Growth? No, it does not. But even still, though, ladies and gentlemen, like, having Chlorophyll and then Solar Beam being, you know, just buffed up and all that stuff, that's going to be absolutely amazing as well. You go for something like Hidden Power Fire if you want, so that way you get, you know, Pseudo Stab from Sun and all that, right? Now, another Pokemon that would benefit greatly from the likes of Drought would happen to be Sawsbuck, because Sawsbuck also happens to get Chlorophyll as well. Now, here's the thing. How about this? You like Swords Dance? Yes, I do, because Swords Dance is going to boost that attack stat by 2 stages, son. You want to have something like Double Edge, which is going to be... Oh, my God almighty. Double Edge is a normal type base 120 power move, man. Now, here is the thing, okay? Is that a third of the damage that you end up doing to your opponents is going to come back at you as recoil. So that is something to keep in mind, okay? But you can also heal it up with something like Horn Leech. Where are you at there, Horn Leech, my friend? There you go. Horn Leech is a really good move to use on something like Sawsbuck to get back some of that health, because 50% of the damage that you cause it comes back to you as health restoration. That's just something that you can keep in mind as well to kind of mitigate the Life Orb recoil, or I should say the Double Edge recoil and all that stuff. It also has something like Jump Kick. You want Jump Kick as well. Boom! There you go, son. And, you know, make it a fast physical sweep right there. Bada bing, bada boom. And here's the thing, man, is that Chlorophyll is going to be in effect. All that stuff, man. It's going to boost your speed by 2 stages. Swords Dance. Swords Dance that beast up. Now you have your 2 stages in your attack, man. That is going to make it so that this Pokemon has double the attack, double the speed, and double the wham bam bam, son. Now, also, ladies and gentlemen, you can go for something like Leafeon as a good teammate as well, because here's the thing, is that it has Chlorophyll as well, man, and you know what that means. Swords Dance, yes, Swords Dance is going to make this Pokemon even more threatening of a Chlorophyll sweeper. Maybe you want a Baton Pass, go for Baton Pass, even though Baton Pass is banned by Smogon. Here's the thing, is that, you know, it's not banned on battle spots. So if you want to go for something like Baton Pass, you want to Baton Pass your +2 or +4, +6 in your Swords Dance, Baton Pass out to a teammate that's going to make better use of it, you think? Then there you go, man. Now, with this right here, you know, that's just something I wanted to kind of, you know, add in to this video as well, is some teammates for the likes of regular Ninetales that's going to love Ninetales and its ability to summon Sun for days, man. Now, with that being said, hope you guys aren't tired out just yet, because we still have ourselves Alolan Ninetales to go over. So with that said, let's get to it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so now we move on to Alolan Ninetales, and let me tell you something about Ninetales, okay? It's not just another pretty face in the world of Pokemon. This Pokemon right here is just, oh man. This Pokemon offers amazing support, and it isn't just weather support as well. It offers, you know, a wide variety of support to a wide variety of teammates, alright? So, with a set like this, as you're seeing right here, we have ourselves Light Clay, which is going to be the item of choice, because what this does is it will extend the duration of the likes of Light Screen, Reflect, and Aurora Veil from 5 turns to 8. Okay, now we have ourselves Snow Warning, which is going to summon Hail, and it is a must for a set like this. Why? Because of this move, Aurora Veil. I just gotta say, you know, this right here is like, you know, a move from heaven, because, you know, instead of taking up 2 move slots and 2 turns to set up both Reflect and Light Screen, Aurora Veil does that in 1 single turn, wrapped up in 1 single move, man, because for 5 turns, damage to allies is halved. Now, the only drawback to this is it can be summoned only when there's Hail, okay? If you try to go for Aurora Veil and there's no Hail on the field, it's not gonna work. So that is the only drawback to a move like this, okay? So we then go on to Freeze Dry, which is going to be its only offensive move right here, and it is still really good, even though it's base 70 power. This move right here targets water-type moves, water-type Pokemon, I should say, for super effective damage. So on top of, you know, Freeze Dry targeting, you know, Dragon, Ground, Grass, Flying, it also targets water too. So just think of it this way, okay? Think of it this way. You know, think of the likes of Kingdra, think of the likes of Gyarados, think of the likes of Swampert, you know, Gastrodon, the list goes on, you know. Freeze Dry is going to do massive damage super effectively to them, you know, because not only, you know, are they going to have, you know, their secondary types that are weak to Ice-type moves, but water is going to be weak to Freeze Dry. So, I mean, that's just something to keep in mind right there. Now, the last 2 moves right here, it's really up to you. We have Hypnosis as a recommended move from the Smogon set, and what this does is, you know, it's base 60 accuracy, so I mean, you know, it's kind of shaky, okay? But what this does is it will cause the target to fall asleep, And that right there is another notch of support for Ninetales and its teammates. Now, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Hail, and the reason being, ladies and gentlemen, please don't need choke me for this. You're probably thinking, why the F would you have redundant weather if, you know, you got snow warning and stuff like that? Here's the reason why, okay? You don't want to have other weather starters try to get the jump on you, okay? You don't want to have the likes of Tyranitar, Mega Charizard Y, and Ninetales, Cantonian form, and all that stuff, Hippowdon, any other Pokemon that try to set up weather that isn't Hail. It's like, well, see, here's the thing, man, that's kind of gonna not work out kind of thing. You know, I have a little bit of a problem with that. Well, see, here's the thing. With Hail, you are gonna end up setting up Hail, okay? And that right there is going to mess with their strategy, and it's just going to be absolutely fun to see, you know, them, you know, start to become undone at the seams, because they're thinking, well, damn, it's like, Alolan Ninetales has access to Hail, which means that, you know, as soon as we come in and we try to ruin Snow Warning, they're going to ruin us back with Hail. It's like, no! What of our strategy, man? Well, you know what? That right there is just an option, but I mean, it's incredibly situational, but even still, okay, if you don't like the idea of having double weather on Alolan Ninetales, and by double, I'm talking about, you know, having Hail being activated automatically by Snow Warning, and then having Hail, you know, essentially take up a, you know, an empty move slot. Here's the thing, okay? You could go for something like Encore. Now, what Encore does, we'll get to the spread in a second, it's going to cause the opponent to repeat the same move that they used the last turn. So, you know, this is absolutely great. This is what causes so many rage quits and all that stuff. Encore is just absolutely amazing because it's going to lock you into one move. The move that you used the last turn for 3 turns. So that means that you try to set up entry hazards. Well, okay, set up your little entry hazards. Just set up your little toy rocks and your toy spikes, toy sticky web and all that stuff. Well, Encore, you know, I just Encored you into that shit. What are you going to do now, son? Or, you know, you can take a Pokemon that tries to set up on you, and, you know, Encore's just like, hey, keep on going, Encore, Encore, and, you know, they're going to want more and all that stuff, and, you know, the thing is that the opponents isn't going to want to do more because it's like, well, they can't, they're stuck because of Encore and all that, so they got no choice but to either bite the bullet and, you know, keep on, you know, using the same move over and over again until Encore is up, or they're going to have to switch out. Which essentially means, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to have the advantage. Now, when it comes to the spread, okay, we're going to go for Timid Nature regardless, but we're aiming to be as bulky and fast as possible. We want to be fast as possible to get the Aurora Veil up, and we want to be as bulky as possible to tank hits and to be able to come back in and set up more Aurora Veils for later. Now, here's the thing, you know, you want to take more of an offensive approach here. That is absolutely fine, you know. You can get rid of Hypnosis and put in Moonblast, and then, you know, for, like, Encore is a good move in general. But, here's the thing. If you don't like the idea of Encore, and you don't like the idea of, you know, having, you know, minimal type coverage, because here's the thing, is that you are walled completely by steel types, and, you know, if you're walled by steel types, hey, that's absolutely fine. You know what would be good? How about Hidden Power Ground, son? Hidden Power Ground, because I should also point out that Hidden Power Ground takes care of all 4 of its weaknesses. Yeah, that's right. Any fire type Pokemon tries to switch in, guess what? They take a Hidden Power Ground right to the dome. Any poison types, boom, right to the dome. Any rock types, boom, right to the dome. Any steel types, yeah, come on, bring your little bullet punches in, Scizor. Guess what? Boom, right to the dome, all that stuff. Well, I mean, in the case of Scizor, you know, you kind of want to have Hidden Power Fire or something like that, you know. That's just a suggestion, but I'm basically saying that Hidden Power Ground is absolutely great for a Pokemon like this. And then obviously you're going to want to change the spread to this, okay? Max special attack, max speed, how you doing, baby? Now, with that being said, you know, there are plenty of ways to run Aurora Veil Ninetales, you know, and, like, I just showcased you guys 2 ways that you can do it. Now, there are obviously other ways you can do it, you know, more support-oriented. Let's actually take a look at some of the moves that we got going on right here, man. Yeah, we got Disable for 4 turns. Disables the target's last move. Now, okay, I just thought of something right here. I actually just thought of something absolutely hilarious. So, Encore and Disable. Think of it like this, okay? You Encore the opponent and lock them in to the last move that they used, and then disable them. They have no choice but to switch out, or they're going to struggle to death. You know, that's just something to keep in mind as well. It's gimmicky as hell, but it's awesome, okay? This also has access to Foul Play as well if you want to take the opponent's attack stat and use it against them. this Pokemon actually has access to Heal Bell, which is absolutely amazing because what this does is it will cure your entire team of all of its status ailments, which is absolutely amazing. Kind of gives you a little bit more of a clerical support, you know? This Pokemon also has access to Nasty Plot as well, which boosts the special attack by 2 stages. You know, there are so much potential, okay? This thing has access to Ice Shard, too. Now, here's the thing. Even though we're not going for physical attack, Ice Shard is really good to kind of pick off weakened opponents and all that stuff. If you're lacking priority, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. Yeah, it basically has, you know, a very similar sort of moveset that regular Ninetales does, just the only difference is that rather than dealing with, you know, Fire-type moves, you're dealing with Ice-type moves, but its supportive move pool is very similar outside of the use of Aurora Veil and all that stuff, because Aurora Veil is something that only Alolan Ninetales can get. So, with that being said, let's now move on to the next set right here, and this right here is going to be the Icium Z set, okay? We got Icium Z, which is going to turn your Ice-type move into its Z move, which is going to be absolutely amazing as Sub-Zero Slammer, okay? Now, the ability for choice, obviously you're going to want to have something like Snow Warning, because Snow Warning is honestly the best ability to use for Alolan Ninetales, okay? Regardless of the situation, and I'm also not hating on Snow Cloak. Snow Cloak is really good as well, but here's the thing, is that in comparison to Snow Cloak, you're going to want to have Snow Warning, because that way, ladies and gentlemen, you have a way to set up weather, so that way, ladies and gentlemen, that any Pokemon that tries to rely on their weather, you know, you can automatically ruin their day, ruin their strategy with Snow Warning activated, and, you know, they're thinking, well, damn, there goes my Swift Swim team, or damn, there goes my Chlorophyll team, and all that stuff. But anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves the first move right here, known as Nasty Plot, which is going to boost the special attack up by 2 stages, as I alluded to earlier. Next up, we have ourselves Blizzard, and Blizzard is the reason why we have Icium Z, guys, is so that way it turns into an ultra-powerful Sub-Zero Slammer. And something else I gotta point out, ladies and gentlemen, is that Blizzard cannot miss in Hail. So, you know, coming off a base 110 power, coming off a potential, you know, Nasty Plot boost and all that stuff, Blizzard is going to hit for ridiculous damage, man. That's just going to be absolutely crazy. So coming up next, guys, we've got Freeze Dry. Freeze Dry is almost mandatory to have on an offensive set for Alolan Ninetales, because not only does it allow for you to have more reliable accuracy when it comes to a good Ice-type move, but it also gives super effective damage to Water-type Pokemon. I keep saying moves for some reason whenever I refer to Pokemon. Pokemon are not moves, okay? They use moves, but they're not moves, okay? The thing is that Freeze Dry is going to just absolutely be necessary here on a set like this, because this will be a great way to target Water-type Pokemon and deal super effective damage via Freeze Dry. There we go, I said it right. So now, last but not least, guys, we've got Moonblast, because you want to have that good Fairy-type stab and all that stuff. You know, good against dragons, good against fighting. And here's the thing, guys, is that I want to point out that, you know, like, in between, you know, Moonblast and Blizzard, Blizzard definitely offers better type coverage. So, I mean, here's the thing, is that if you are not too fussed about losing out on, you know, Moonblast coverage, then here's what you can do. Take it out and put in Ground, as in Hidden Power Ground, son. So that way, you have coverage for Ice, you got coverage for Ground, and technically speaking, you got coverage against Water as well. So here's the thing, the reason we got Hidden Power Ground is so that way you'll be able to take on what you're weak against. Take on Fire-type Pokemon, no problem. Take on Poison-type Pokemon, no problem. Take on Rock and Steel-type Pokemon, bring it on, son. I am not afraid of you. And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves a very similar spread to this spread right here. It's basically the same. You want to run a Intimidator with max special attack and max speed for special defense. And with that being said, guys, before we move on to some good teammates that you can utilize for the likes of Alolan Ninetales and Snow Warning, I kind of want to showcase you guys some other moves that it can utilize too, okay? I made mention of Disable. You know, Disable can be really good paired with Encore if you want to cause shenanigans. Heal Bell can be good if you want to offer even more team support to your team. This Pokemon also has the likes of Extra Sensory, so that way you'll have good moves against the likes of Poison and Fighting type Pokemon. Now, if memory serves, I believe this Pokemon also gets Psyshock as well, and yes, it does. It can be a good move to target physical defense of the opponents. So, you know, Pokemon like Chansey, Pokemon like Blissey, you know, they think they can switch in on you and be like, yeah, guess what? I'm specially buff. I can take on special hits all day. Well, Can you take a Nasty Plot boosted Side Shock to the face? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the fact that you're not going to be able to take those sort of hits as well. And we also have ourselves the likes of Roar, which, you know, like I made mention earlier when it came to regular Ninetales, is that Roar is a great move to utilize to phase out your opponents and not only ruin any form of setup, but also force them to switch in a random Pokemon. And especially if you have entry hazards, you know, stacked up on their end, it's going to be absolutely annoying. So now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to showcase you guys some good teammates that are going to benefit from Snow Warning, and that is Slush Rush Beartic. Now, the thing is with Beartic, man, I mean, you don't see this Pokemon often in, like, high-tier play, but let me tell you something. With base 130 attack, coupled with the fact that it gets Swords Dance, woo-wee, it is going to be absolutely amazing, okay? Like, it's a very similar scenario to Chlorophyll Sweepers, you know, with this Pokemon having access to Swords Dance, it's going to absolutely smash through the opponents, okay? Like, Slush Rush is going to double the speed of Pokemon as long as Hail is in effect, okay? So that is why you always must run the likes of Snow Warning on Alolan Ninetales, is so that way if you have Slush Rush will activate, which means that this Pokemon is just going to be absolutely threatening, okay? Like, you got Slush Rush, which doubles your speed, you got Swords Dance, which doubles your attack, and then you can just start spamming the likes of Icicle Crash, Play Rough. It also gets Low Kick if you want the and the thing is that Low Kick is so much more powerful the heavier the opponent is. But if you're not looking for something like that, if you're not looking, you know, for, you know, targeting Pokemon based on their weight and, you know, their size and all that stuff, then you go for something like Brick Break, which not only is a really good base, consistent 75 power, but it also destroys opposing screens as well, which is also something to keep in mind. You're most definitely going to want to Play Rough though, man, because Play Rough is just an absolutely wonderful move to have that targets the likes of dragons, targets the likes of fighting type Pokemon. You know, the list goes on, right? And obviously for a Pokemon like this, you want to have a spread of max attack, max speed with the Jolly Nature. Of course, you can go for Adamant as well. Let's just go ahead and go for Adamant here real quick. And damn, man, oh man. Look at that attack number. The 394, that's almost 800 when you are doubling it with Swords Dance, right? Like, this Pokemon, you know, also is really good as a Slush Rush sweeper. And the thing is that when you pair Slush Rush up with the likes of Alolan Ninetales and its ability to set up Hail with Snow Warning, woo! This is going to be one Pokemon that is going to leave you out in the cold and smash you to dust, okay? Now, another Pokemon that benefits from Alolan Ninetales and Snow Warning would happen to be Slush Rush Alolan Sandslash. Very similar to the likes of Beartic when it comes to its function in battle. You're more or less meant to set up your Swords Dance, set up your attack stat, and, you know, just start sweeping face. Because look at this, man. Icicle Crash, boom. Base 85 power, 30% chance to flinch, and it also gets stabbed. You got Iron Head, which is base 80 power, also 30% chance to flinch, which is also stabbed. You got Earthquake, which is overall a really good move to have. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know, like, there are also other moves that you can use on Beartic as well. Hell, here's the thing. You can go for something like Power Up Punch to replace Swords Dance, give you a little bit of offensive power, and gives you a 100% chance to boost your attack stat by 1 stage. Let's see what else you can go for. You go for something like Rock Slide, go for Shadow Claw, go for Super Power if you want, right? Like, Beartic is such a good Slush Rush Pokemon to use, you know, with the likes of Alolan Ninetales and Snow Warning and all that stuff. And same with Sandslash as well. Alolan Sandslash not only is one of the most badass looking Pokemon, but this Pokemon can be a pure and utter badass when it comes to its role in battle, okay? Like, you need to pair it with a Snow Warning or a Hail user, so that way it'll be able to get double the speed thanks to Slush Rush, set up a Swords Dance, and just to be able to threaten the opponent's team so badly that they either get swept or they have no choice but to tap out and forfeit, you know what I'm saying? So that right there is just some ideas, and that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is going to end this video off right here. So I want to say thank you guys so very much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed what I added here, you know, adding some teammates, kind of talking about that a little bit, you know, going a little bit more in depth as to just how supportive these Pokemon are. I'm going to try to do that from now on when it comes to these sort of videos, so that way it gives you guys a little bit more content and a little bit more knowledge when it comes to the Pokemon that I'm reviewing. So with that being said, guys, thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next upload.